Hey everyone, welcome to the Intelligent Conversations podcast, where we believe everyone has a form of intelligence that resides within them. Our goal is to encourage these type of conversations for our audience to listen to. Without further ado, welcome to the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Intelligent Conversations podcast. Today I have the honor to speak with Kimberly Ann Bell. She is an author, public speaker who has lived quite the life. She uses experiences from her personal life to help people with the most difficult things that they encounter. So Kimberly, thank you for coming on. I really look forward to hearing what you have to say today. But from what I can tell when I read your bio, when I was checking up on you, you've lived quite a life. So I kind of want you to start there. Could you, share some things that you think would be appropriate for people to know about you?
Well, thank you first of all, Josh, for having me.
Glad to have you.
It's a blessing and an honor. So thank you so much. And taking your time to have me heard. So I guess my first thing I would want to share is finally finding the courage to speak my truth and to accept my truth. That had the first, I guess, initial healing for me and freedom. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? What was like the experiences that led up to that? So what kind of helped you get to that point right there?
As you said, such a life. Such a life, and then repeated cycles and unhealthy ones, and I had to, wanted to just get that choice and that mentality to choose better, to say, where is this coming from? Why is this cycle repeating? And do I want a life filled with anxiety and depression and issues with rejection and abandonment? Is this the type of life that I want to live? I only had this one life, this one earthly life. I have never heard no one say that as repeats or actually seen it. So therefore, I'm taking it as this reality. This is just one life. This is one chance that I have. Do I want to live this type of life? And I had to choose to accept my past, all of it. And I really believe a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, things that had happened beyond my control, I held responsibility of, which I shouldn't have for years. Yeah. I can't be responsible for anyone else's actions. I can only be responsible for my own. And until it's finally hit me, I'm just like, okay. So, let me accept everything from the beginning, all the way up here, and embrace those things that I chose to do and why, and then choose now, what do I want to accept as far as my future?
Yeah, I thank you for sharing that. That was great. I think a lot of people, I want to ask you this though. Was it hard to like kind of come to that truth, to kind of come to that reality? Was it really hard to like kind of change your mindset to go to that type of mentality?
Very hard.
Very hard.
And it was a process, very hard. A lot of times I can personally say I made choices because of what people expected for me to do. Living for someone else. I remember going through a period of my life running away from my truth so that everyone else could live whatever their truth is.
Exactly.
But I did. Yeah. So just like, now I'm still in my hometown, and I'm like, I know that this is just not a permanent space, place for me. I've been blessed to set the foundation for a legacy for my grandkids and my children, that if they ever need a home, we have a family home on the Eastern Shore. But my next move from another state won't be running. It will be the door, the opportunity, the door of the opportunity opening up for me. Yeah.
Exactly. I want to ask you this. This kind of just came to my mind. So for the listeners that are like tuning in right now, how would you help them like recognize those opportunities? How would you help them say, hey, like you said, find their own truth? What would be your advice to help them find those opportunities?
I would say the reinvesting in yourself. That's the most gifted gift anyone could give their self, is that invest in their self so that they can reach that truth moment. And even if they don't want to share it, just accepting it.
Yeah.
Sharing is good, but just accepting it. I ended up sharing with the world, but I learned the more I dove into investing in me and loving me, it was getting me closer and closer to reach that accepting the truth and attracting people that seeing that I loved me, that I came first. Yeah.
I like the thoughts that are circulating here. I think a lot of people can benefit from that. So I I know you mentioned that it's a process, that it was a process to get to that point. What were some of the obstacles that you encountered that, kind of you felt like it kind of held you back, but then once you overcame them, you just felt so relieved to overcome those obstacles?
Well, some of the process, like I was determined never to give up. I just determined somebody, never give up and never give in. Even though, like I was telling you, those processes, there were a lot of times I wanted to, a lot of times that I had thoughts of, is this life even worth living? With 4 children at the time.
Oh, wow.
They wasn't even, so people can imagine as like, oh my gosh, but you had not 1 but 4 children and you were willing to leave them. Yes, it got that bad that I thought about. It's like, but it was just this hope in God and faith that I had, that if I could just make it through this day or tomorrow, hang in there, but so the processes of never having that bond with my biological mother, I had to accept that, where the acceptance and the validation I would never, as right now, get from her, that I always wanted. But being open to whenever she comes to her truth and want a relationship, that my heart will be ready, but it won't be compromised.
Yeah,
that love won't be compromised as far as I'm buying the love or I'm forcing the love. That I had to go through that process of stopping. So that was one of the processes that I had to accept, because I was given away by both of my biological parents and raised by someone else at around 5 to 6 years old. So it wasn't like I didn't know them. So I had to deal with and come to grips with rejection and abandonment. And was there something about me? And then finding later in life, okay, the first man or the first woman that seen my self-worth, I didn't see it, but wanting Kim's assistance, that I just dove right in. Oh my God, they accept me. Oh my gosh, they want me. Oh my God, they love me. Oh my God, what more can I give? What more can I give? What more can I give? And I'm giving and giving and giving and giving and draining myself. I gotta help this. And it's so crazy, Josh, because one of my daughters, one of my adult daughters, I have 4 adult daughters and a minor, said, you are not the savior. You got to stop being the savior. And what actually they were looking and witnessing is that I was going ham on someone finally seeing me without me seeing myself. And I'm just forgetting myself, losing myself, but giving all to someone else. And so the processes of 4 marriages, divorce, grieving my first love, my first protector, which was my adopted dad, in 97, he was able to see all of my 4 adult children. Matter of fact, the last one, which was a son, that was born in 97, he did get to hold him when he was 6 weeks old, and then he passed away. But reinvesting in myself and going back and accepting the truth, I went through a grieving stage when I lost him into trying to find it in an older man.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Man, like I said, that was, you just dropped a bunch of things that I think, man, one person living that in a lifetime, that is just absolutely crazy that
Right.
a person has to live like that. But you accepted it. I think that is a great thing to do. And you also had the resilience to just keep going too. Like, yeah, I think that's like the step-by-step process there is, you start by, accepting it, and then you keep going, right? Resilience.
Right.
Right. I feel like there has to be one more step though. What would you say is that last step to kind of just get you going and really just keep progressing?
I really rely on my faith. I count on that every day, and that self-love, that self-care, that I didn't apply years ago. I apply it daily, and I don't do it now for any of my children or anybody. It's for me. It's for me, because I look at the tools before that I used, and Josh, people might think, that just because you didn't go into drugs or alcohol, that there were unhealthy tools that you go through, and they are. Like, I remember working myself to death to avoid I was a workaholic, to avoid the pain, 2 jobs, going to school, just so that I could numb the pain. I went through not taking care of my body, just eating whenever I wanted to, whatever I wanted to, not treating my body as this is the one temple that I'm going to have for the lifetime.
Yeah.
And so put that as a priority. That wasn't a priority. Everything else was a priority. And so I had to re-examine things that I did that was not healthy, that was not getting me nowhere. I was functionally working. Yes, blessings still came. I was able to get into a lot of different occupations. But then as I started reinvesting in myself and looking back, these occupations and those doors that were open were lessons for me to learn to get where I'm at now, for me to embrace. What did I learn through those things? And just like you said about the resilience, I got tickled because I was blessed to be a DUI counselor for 4 years after I finished my undergrad, and my minor was in psychology and counseling. Now, mind you, I went through a misdiagnosis. For 6 years, I was in resource. The statistics said I would never read or write. So mind you, I'm now in a situation where, okay, I got these 2 degrees. And I remember being a DUI counselor for 4 years. And one of the sessions that we worked on was resilience. Mm-hmm. And so even though I was like in my 4th marriage, and that ended up being a divorce, there was a lesson to be learned to help me build some things inside of me to go to where I'm at now. And people don't realize that. People don't gravitate that and understand. We have this life and we have this.
Hey everyone, sorry, we had a little bit of a network error there, but hopefully we got what Kimberly was saying there. And she had great things to say there. I looking forward to seeing what she has there. And I think we all kind of got left on a cliffhanger there. So I was sitting there and I was like, oh my goodness, what just happened? And yeah, so Kimberly, sorry about that, but do you think you could pick up where you left off? You were talking about, the DUI and what the experience there at the DUI office.
Yeah, and like I was saying, that, the reinvesting in myself and understanding life is that, and accepting. I brought out in the sessions a lot that we all didn't make bad decisions. We all didn't make, messed up choices. So every choice that we make in life, rather just getting up out the bed, is consequences. Consequences, good and bad. So you have to look at, and what I started to understand and look at, there is good and bad. And without those two things, out those two forces, does not make that masterpiece, or that, as you were talking about, that resilience and that essence that I have found. And it still does not stop. It still does not stop. What it does is it helps you to maneuver and deal with things that comes our way, changes that comes our way. Because as long as we live here on earth, changes will happen.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was sharing with my 4 adult children, and I have a 6-year-old. I'll be 49 this year, Josh. So it's a very big difference. It's a very big difference. And my adult son and his son had moved back home, but it's I really believe the experiences and the essence, and as I keep building on this resilience tools that I have, it gives me the ability to mother my adult children as they are adults, and my minor, in this day and age, and feel good about it, live in the moment, but also relying on God to help me balance those things that that's already currently in my life, and those unexpected, beyond my control, will happen. Now, just like my the adult baby girl had a very bad illness not too long ago, and I had to readjust my schedule. She was in the hospital for a week. She's married. She has 3 children. And because of the COVID and everything, only one person had to be there. Of course, she put her mom down there. So I'm readjusted my schedule. I made sure that she was washed up and knew what was going on. She had blood transfusion, and then they were talking about taking her to Johns Hopkins. I had already had on my schedule, I was going to a concert. I was seeing Maxwell that weekend, but I had already said in the back of my mind, I was like, if you're going to Johns Hopkins, that's where I will be this weekend.
There you go.
So, but once again, there would have been days, and I can recall in my mentality and the partner that I had chose, I would have been a wreck. I would not have been able to take that adjustment, that beyond my control, that whole week of not knowing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that taking the time out for me and understanding who Kim is, and self-loving me, and then reinvesting and the good and the bad, accepting the good and the bad in my life to where I'm at now, to have that ability to not get into those cycles that I remember seeing or having before. That quick impulsiveness, that quick anxiety, the quick depression, that quick, am I doing enough? And what more can I do? That frantic, because I'm a mom, and I take it so overwhelming because of, once again, accepting my past. And I had even embraced having a mental health therapist help me respond to the things that I chose to do, or the things that I do in such a overwhelming way, and like demanding way, because of the broken foundation, and where I had to have someone in the mental health profession to sit down with me and let me open up, for her to understand and say, okay, this is why you have to, understand yourself, and where you had, why this decisions you're making, and why, your kids can, you have to have a balance, and your children can be a part of your stability, and can be part of your instability if you do not, make sure you have that mental check. And so, like I said, she got me to understand at having my first one at 15, I vowed, it started with her, that she would never feel that missing mom component in her life, because here I missed it.
Yeah.
And so I went overboard. And so I had to now, which, like I said, all the years of even, partners that, I ended up, having a committed relationship with, and having children by, understanding now the type of person I am, that it's okay for me to be patient. It's okay for me to wait. It's okay for me to understand if this person that I want to be committed to have a similar background. What is important to them? What is important to me? What does their future look like? What does my future look like, before I go and say, okay, yeah, this is we're meant to be together, because we then slept together, and I love you and you love me, and therefore you accept me and I can help you, and so we this is what we should do. No, so those things had to help me.
Yeah, I think as you were talking through that, I was starting to think to myself, I'm like, it's almost like you have to ask the right questions to yourself.
Right.
And if you ask the right questions, then it puts you like in a better position. And again, that patience, if you have the patience to be like, because oftentimes we'll be like, oh, why are they doing this right now? Like, blah, blah, like we want to be the best type of thing. But if we have the patience, like to just slow down a bit and say, all right, wait, why am I acting like this? Why am I even asking this question in the first place? And then really just like dig down deep and start asking those questions to yourself. I think that is one of the most powerful things someone can do, because I mean, as much as people like want to solve all the problems in the world, it starts with a question, right? And I think it's in our DNA, like we want to solve problems. Like that's how we get joy.
Yes.
And when we, every time we solve that problem, we're like, oh, we feel good about ourselves. But the thing is, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, we ask more questions to create more problems. I guess that's a horrible analogy, but we ask questions to be like, all right, wait, why am I doing this? How can I be better than I was yesterday? And I think that ultimately is what life's all about, is just being better than what you were yesterday, like just taking one step forward at a time. So great thoughts that you were sharing there. I loved what you shared there. So I want to drop though the intelligent question of the day today, and that is, how would you help someone develop patience? Because I think some of those, smaller kids, I mean, they're everything, especially in today's day and age, everyone wants things now. So for the intelligent question of the day, how would you help, some of these young kids that have instant gratification develop patience?
Well, first I would want to ask and see if I could get them to get the understanding of why the rush. Like you said, ask them to see if there would be an openness or willingness to feel what is the rush? What is the instant gratification of the reason to rush? Is it because of what they've seen? If this is what they observed, is that, you know what I mean? And take it from there to, because a lot of times I really believe that my impulsiveness came to what I was taught, what I observed, and what I've heard,
Yes, we're definitely people that learn based off those things you said. We learn by seeing, saying, and hearing and doing.
Right.
We all learn in different ways, and I think that right there, everyone, that's the intelligent answer of the day. That was great. So I hate to wrap this up. I'm sorry about the network error again.
Oh no, that's okay. Okay.
I don't know what happened there, but I know you mentioned before we started this interview and all that you have a book, that you have something along those lines. Could you share like what would be the best way people could get a hold of that? What's the best way they can, find you, reach out to you? What's the best way they can do that?
Okay, so I have first this, I'm going to have another one. but I'm working on the in between. But this is going to be always my babies. But this is my memoir. This is the epitome of Kimmy on Amazon and Goodreads, and it's the only picture that I have of myself. I don't have any infant pictures or pictures with my biological family, so I thought it was very, very one of the defined moment to get that little girl picture of the first picture that I had in my possession when I went to my adopted family. Kimmy came from my adopted dad, and I love music, all types of music. So I listen to music all the time. That's one of my coping tools. And I remember a song came on, and doing the lyrics, she said something about the epitome, and I'm writing it down and I'm Googling it. And I said, oh my gosh, there it is. Can I put this together? And so that's how the epitome of Kimmy came along. But I'm just so blessed with that memoir from the beginning. I talk about my foundation all the way from my educational years to first getting comfortable into my home, and then experiencing the denomination, the generational era back then, and how they relied on spiritual, on God. And I was a victim of child molestation inside of that home. And that was my first sexual experiences, but that's in the book. And I carry you through all the births of my children, because I was in different mentality, different seasons of my life with all the births of my children, all the 4 marriages to where I'm at now. So it is a blessing to get out. So it's a must read. And someone you may know that have encountered some similar situations, or you yourself encountered some similar situations, it is a definitely a transparent book that I just released. Everything that my truth that I felt that would help someone else. And that was just the goal.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Everyone that's listening, watching, I would be sure to go check that out. And is that on Amazon, Audible, all those
it's
platforms?
On Amazon ebook, not Audible yet, but it's on the ebook. And I heard the ebook is really, really, really great, because it's not as long as people think it is. So the ebook and Goodreads, and you can get a copy off of Amazon. And then my website is a very good website that you can look at, and you can see my babies, you can see my children, and the family, and reach out to me, connect with me. I also am doing a mentoring project where I have some mentoring sessions that I am able to do. I'm able to travel. So one of them I'm going to be doing this Saturday in DC, which is called the Balance Beam of Life. So I'm just excited. So yeah,
sweet. It sounds like you have great things coming to you, and I couldn't be more excited. That's so cool to see that you're living the life that
Josh,
I think everyone wants to live. That's so cool. So thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed having you on. Again, sorry about that network error.
No worries.
Thank you for coming on.
Okay.
All right, everyone, as you can tell, that is Kimberly Bell. As you can tell, she's a very intelligent person, has great things to say. I would go check out her books. It's on Amazon. She dropped her details there. And see you guys next week. We have a great guest lined up for you guys. See you guys next week, and let's get after it. Hey everyone, if you liked this episode and would like to hear more, be sure to hit that subscribe or follow button. We release a new episode every Wednesday for you guys to listen to. Thank you guys so much for the support that you give. We could not have done this without you guys. If you would like to be a potential guest on the show, check out intelligentconvos.com, and there should be a form there for you guys to fill out. Thank you guys again, and let's get after it.